Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner for my Slow Stitch Saturday. This is what we did last week, and if you recall at the end of the video, I was not happy with what I had done for the stem of this small little blue spider web flower. And I said I was going to try to come up with an idea to remedy that. I ended up taking out all that thread and I'm much happier with it. So, one of the things I did when I took out all the thread is I had originally had this stem of the flower come all the way down to the end. And that was too much for this small little flower. So I only did the stem here. You can't see it very much, but then this was empty. And I thought I need something there. So I couched down some, what are the eyelash trim there. I'm going to insert a picture here of what it looked like before, and you tell me if you think it was it was an improvement. I really think it is. So now we're going to continue on with this week's prompts. And our prompt is going to be, the color is going to be pink, and we're going to learn how to make yo-yos. So I've gone ahead and laid down some base fabrics. You always want something in the background before you have your focal point there. And I have just a little bit of script fabric there. This, I think, came off of a little girl's dress, and I stitched it down there. And then I have a piece of antique lace here, and then a piece of more newer lace here. And what you want to do is always, when you start stitching stuff down, like this here, when last week when we finished, I had left this up. I had not stitched it all the way down because then I tucked this piece underneath. The same thing with here. This piece of this little applique is tucked underneath there. Same thing with this. So I did not stitch this all the way down because I wanted to tuck this under, but then this is going to come over the top. And so I'm going to go ahead and stitch this down. And so, like I said, lay down some kind of a neutral fabric or lace because you're going to put your yo-yos on top of it. So I'm going to continue to stitch this down off camera. But what I will do is, like I said, I will not stitch it down all the way here. I will leave this open so that when I need to add something to it, I can either tuck it under, or if I feel it doesn't look as good tucked under, I can still put it over the top. So let me stitch this down and I will be back with you guys. What I've done is gone ahead and trimmed off the edge, but like I said, I have left this area of the lace open so that I can tuck some more fabric underneath there if I need to. So let me put this out of the way, and I'm going to show you two different ways to make yo-yos. To me, the best way that I have found is using these little yo-yo templates. The reason is if you stitch by hand without one of these, your yo-yo can come out wonky and not really look as nice. But I will show you how to do that if you don't have these. I have these down in the description box. There is an area for sewing supplies, and they're underneath here. They come in a pack of 4. And so this is my preferred way, just because I can't seem to do them as well otherwise. So I pulled in some pink fabrics because that is our color scheme. And let's see, which one do I want to use? Let's just use this little one here since it would be the correct size. What you're going to do is take your template. It comes apart. And you're going to lay whatever fabric you're going to use down in the template. And I have marked these little tick marks where they would go so that they snap in place. So you lay your fabric in there, and then the top part of the little tool goes inside, and you'll feel it snap in place. And then you're going to take a pair of scissors and just trim around it because you don't need all of this fabric. And you're going to trim it, maybe anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 inch from the template. Okay, I think that's pretty even all the way around. Maybe go a little bit more here. It's going to be tucked inside of your little yo-yo, so it doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to take some thread that is pink. And so I've got my little area here. And so you want to tuck it in, pull your fabric toward you, and you're going to take your first stitch. Now let me show you these. Oops, didn't mean to throw it around. You've got these little like indentations in the template. They're little like little U type areas. That is where your thread is going to go. You don't want your thread here on the plastic part because then it won't be able to come out of the little template, the little plastic template. So what you're going to do is just take your thread and your needle, and you're going to come up on that little area, pull it through, and then just back down. And again, what you're going to do is catch on the inside there so that that kind of lays flat. And then you're just going to come around, go to the next one. It's very simple. I love this little tool. You're going to see me kind of struggle probably with making a yo-yo without it. Just continue to kind of tuck this fabric in and just keep going around. We're almost done. I also recently just bought another little template for making flowers, and that is fun. I will show you that in a future video. The only thing for this project we're doing right now, I think the flowers it makes is going to be too big to go on it. Okay, almost done. And then when you get to this area, you do want to go back in here by this knot. If you don't, this part won't be like pleated or tucked in. So we're going to go back, but we're going to make sure we don't catch the knot there. So just kind of work around where it is. Come on. I keep hitting kind of the plastic area. There it is. Okay. Through and then back. And your needle is going to end on this side of the fabric. Then all you do is push it out, and that comes apart. Then you have this, then this comes out. And then what you're going to do is take a hold of your thread and pull it, and you'll see the yo-yo start to form. And just help it with your thumb. Keep pulling and kind of fold it underneath. This makes a really tiny yo-yo. I think with the next one, we will do one that's a little bit bigger. See how tiny that one is? Okay, we've pulled it all the way around, but it's kind of cockeyed. So just kind of have to work with it, move it around. And you see how that then makes the perfect little yo-yo. This is a tiny one. I think the next one we will do is this green one. We will make a green one. The next size up, because I'm going to do 3 of them. So then what you're going to do is once you have formed your yo-yo and you have all those really nice pleats, then you want to make sure that they don't come apart. And so then I'm just going to take a stitch or 2. I'm going to hide that knot in there. I'm going to take a stitch or 2 just to anchor it. Pull that through. And then knot it off. And then one more. Okay. And then let's cut off our thread. And there's our first little yo-yo. Isn't that cute? That came out really nice. I like that. Let's do another one using the green one, the next size up. Because, let's see this, if I lay that there, yes, that's tiny. I think we've got more than enough room to do a green one. So let's retie a knot at the end of our thread. And so what I'm going to do for the green one is I will fast forward through making it. I'm going to use this fabric that's got the pink and the yellow. Okay, we've sewn that. Let's pop the things out. Look how easy that is. Oh, so much easier than doing it by hand. Pull it along and tuck this in. That's a pretty one. I like this one. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing and tie it off. And that's our second little yo-yo. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to show you how to do this without that plastic template. Let's get our needle and thread ready, and let's pull in a different fabric. How about this one here? This is just pink, but I am going to, because I have a little problem with having the size of circle that I need bigger than this. So I am going to still use this so that I can, well, let's just use this. Let's go up another size. Do I have enough room? No, it's not enough. Let's see. This will work. So let's just mark this. So that I have at least a somewhat perfect circle. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your circle. You're going to fold it over, and you're still going to want like a somewhat of a maybe an eighth, quarter inch, and you're going to come through and create a stitch and anchor that down. Now, the larger your stitches means there's going to be less gathers. So now we're going to do a little bit bigger stitch here, and then that means the hole will be smaller. So you're just going to kind of keep going around. Folding that in. And creating a stitch or sewing a stitch in. I'm excited because my daughter is coming over. I think I've told you before, she is one of the leaders for the young women at church, and they're having an activity coming up. I can't even remember what it is, but she has to do some invitations, and she doesn't have any craft supplies at all. So she called me yesterday and she said, Mom, can I come over and use some of your cardstock, your paper trimmers, everything that she would need to make these invitations. And so I don't know why she said she needs red and black. So she said, do you have those colors? And I kind of giggled because, as paper crafters and as also, fabric crafters, we have all the colors, all the, everything. I think, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 different shades of red paper. So she will definitely be able to pick whatever shade of red she wants to use. So I'm excited that she's coming over, and boy, Miss Fiona's going to be excited too. She loves seeing my daughter. And then, so now we're going to come up here close to where the knot is. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. I realize now that if I had started pulling the thread a little bit at the beginning before I finished stitching all around, it would have been a little bit easier. Do you see how it's definitely a lot more fiddly to do it this way? And it's not as perfect. They're okay. They're okay, but you see it's just this one, it's even all the way around. The pleats are the same. It's looking a little bit better there. It's okay. It's not horrible, but it's not perfect. So once again, I am going to take a stitch to anchor it down, and I want that to be tucked in there. Okay, let's bring in our snippet roll. And since we already have our yo-yo with thread, let's go ahead and tack it down onto our piece. I want to tuck that in. And let's see where we want these. So I need this one over here because I don't want to cover that up. So I really didn't want to cover that up. Let's just put it up here toward this area. And so then you're just going to stitch it down. Okay, so that one's there. Let's bring this one down here. I like this. And I'm not going to even tie that off. But I do need to make sure I've got it taut enough so that it doesn't pull. Okay, I've tacked it down. Now what I'm going to do with this one is go around and attach it all the way around. So what you're going to want to do is go as close as you can to the edge and then come up and catch just the corner of that yo-yo. You could, I suppose, if you wanted to, is not catch it so close and have the thread show, but I'm gonna kind of do an embroidery type of or an applique type of stitch here to where it's really hidden. So I thought I would do a little voiceover here because my daughter just left, and actually, it was not for the young women from church. It was actually a banquet dinner that my daughter and son in law are hosting for the high school girls golf team. My granddaughter is a senior and she's on the golf team. And so it's the end of year banquet. And so my daughter, like I said, is hosting it at her home. And so we made 26 place cards to have at the table. And it will have the girls' picture on the front of it and their names so that they're actually place settings. So it was fun. She spent a couple of hours over here and we did those together and they came out really cute. I wish I had taken a picture of one of them so that I could show you guys, but she's already left and I forgot. Okay, we've got our second yo-yo down, and I guess this little one needs to then just come up. Let's see, where do I want it? I think overlapping that one is where I want it to go. Then that way you can still see a little bit of that script there. So I'm just going to come up here and tack it down. And I'm not going to sew all the way around it. One more. Oops. So that is our next prompt. The color pink and yo-yos. I like that. So then now, since I have circles and circles, I need to put something either rectangle or square here or something to kind of offset it. Too many circles, but that may be in our next video. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner for our Slow Stitch Saturday. And again, our prompt, the color pink and yo-yos. Thanks. Don't forget to go over to Facebook and post what you've done. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.